Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
We play in the dark. We play in the dark. We're Leicester City. We play in the dark. Good evening. How the devil are you? Wow. The future's bright. The future's blue, isn't it? And now we were worried when we had that team put out at the start. I mean, we needn't have worried. It was all in control. Leicester City 4, Watford 1. And it's still Arsenal, the last team as holders to go out in the third round. Poor Arsenal. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. This is where you can find us on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV and your favourite Spotify platform.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
I tell you what, there's so many players that I could name that. Well, it was like I say, like Rorke's Drift, wasn't it? We got nobody. We got nobody, and any fit first teamer was available. No Benkovic on the pitch. That makes you think, doesn't it? It's the post-match show. And it's going to be Chris and Brad.
It's the Premier League post-match show with Chris and Brad on Leicester Till I Die TV.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Good evening, Brad. How are you? You've got to be happy.
Yeah, I am, mate. I think we've figured out Leicester's defensive problems and how to solve them. Don't play a back four.
Well, or just play the youngsters. I mean,
yeah, or just play your central defensive midfielder at centre back. It seems to work.
Well, I mean, there's no. I mean, had we lost that game, I'd made my mind up when I looked at that starting lineup, and I thought, I can't. If we lose, I'm not going to blame Rodgers because he's done what he can do. There was no, anybody that was fit was on that, apart from Schmeichel, who was being given a rest. Anybody else that was the first team that was fit was on the pitch.
Yeah, it was. There's no way, no matter the result, you was going to blame Rodgers if it was a bad one or a long drawn out one, should we say? And another good thing, I mean, the even more impressive thing now, when you really think about it, is you kind of look at who's coming up over the next few days, and you think, well, hold on a minute. Okay, we were a little bit worried. Let's not kid ourselves. No matter how we were feeling, we were a little bit worried, thinking, well, this would be typical that Ranieri gets his revenge, knocks us out the cups. We're down to about 2 players and 8 children, 8 under 23s on the pitch. This could go a bit sour. But watching the performance, well, I didn't watch it. You know my technical issues I had today.
We've had a few problems. This is why we're actually earlier than it says, because we put the start time back because Brad and myself, not as many as Brad, but we had a few gremlins in the system. But I think we're working touch wood now.
Yeah, and just like I said, I'll try that sentence again, Brad. Listening to that performance and hearing it, and obviously not just the 4 goals, but the way the whole entirety of that match went, apart from probably, well, I don't know, 10 minutes in total of Watford giving us a bit of a scare. That's convincing. Going up against Everton and, on Tuesday night and the likes of Burnley and Tottenham coming up over the next week or so, knowing that we're still going to have these issues. I mean, I don't know what these big clubs are moaning about. We've just proved you can do it no matter what the numbers are. You can beat a Liverpool, and then you can beat a Watford in the cup. Stop moaning. Well, my point stands. A convincing
we didn't have a full team out for either of those games, did we?
No, we didn't. I mean, it just proved that there's, a team spirit, and the fact that this kind of shows things that I kind of touched upon at certain points during, doing these shows with you, Chris, that Brendan Rodgers is clearly trying to do a plan B, and maybe his plan B changed at some point, and I don't know where it changed, but he obviously said, right, whilst we can't really do this system that we've probably seen him try and not do very well over the course of like 4 or 5 months, he's gone, right, I now want you as individuals to be more versatile because I need you guys to be able to sit in a position that you're not quite comfortable at. And it's clearly working on the training ground, because you wouldn't have known Chowdhury wasn't a defender today. You wouldn't have known them lads had never played in the first team today. I mean, what did we have? 4 or 5 youngsters that either made a debut or made only their 2nd or 3rd appearance for us, and they didn't look out of place today, Chris. That was the biggest thing. They did not look out of place stepping out onto that pitch.
I mean, in fairness, it was Watford, and they were awful. But you can only play who was against you.
Yeah.
Say that to Newcastle and Burnley at the moment. But and say hi to Doug. No jokes today, Doug. Your jokes are bad enough last night. Neil, how the devil are you, sir? Get over to Beyond the 90 LFC. Give them a follow as well. A good Leicester channel. But Rodgers has asked for the Everton game to be postponed as we have 8 players instead of the 13 required. FA do not care about player welfare. It appears not. But then again, did we miss them today? We didn't even have a full bench, did we?
No, we didn't. But I do see the point. I totally think we're well within our rights. If you're going to do it on, pushing your chest out and saying, well, we've never complained, so we're allowed to do it at least once, or if you just go on the basic human act of the fact that every other club has allowed it. I understand that the FA's rulings was, we need this tournament played, deal with it. This is why you've been doing it. Kind of like the FA went, well, you've been playing your kids in the 3rd round for years, so why does it matter if you've only got 8 first-team players or 4 first-team players?
Fair point,
Whereas the Premier League do have the rule that a club can ask for a postponement if they do not have 13 available first-team players. So we might not even be playing Everton on Tuesday, and I think kind of we warranted that. Not just the performance today and not just the performance against Liverpool, but I think just the club's natural attitude to go in, if we don't, we'll get on with it. If we're not told otherwise, we'll get on with it. But I honestly feel that maybe Leicester deserve a chance to get a few more players fit before they play Everton and play congestions again. Because I don't think, if you're looking at it that perspective, and I know it's not done on that perspective, if you look at the way certain clubs, not just Leicester, by the way, other clubs have gone about handling and COVID injuries outbreaks, we're one of the teams that shouldn't get punished by playing 3 games in a week. No. With a strip side, I think Leicester should be allowed to postpone that fixture until after February. Personally,
Well, definitely. I mean, it was rearranged. I can understand them sticking it back in January, but I think if I ask how you're feeling, I think I know how you're feeling, because I think you're going to be feeling the same way.
Yes! Oh, God. Oh, I'll have what she's having.
I mean, it is. I mean, let's have a look at. Let's have a look at that lineup. I'm not going to read them all out because there's some strange names in there. But it was nice to see Ward getting a run out. Or Brighton, I think he deserved him, as captain. Even Vestergaard, he earned the penalty. Decent game. We'll jump over somebody there. Tillemans. I mean, Chowdhury to me was absolutely. I mean, Maddison was good, but Chowdhury was outstanding. Barnes, Lookman, another good game. Barnes, I thought, was a little bit quiet, but then he popped up with the goal.
Yeah, I mean, Barnes, that's kind of customary. We kind of got a bit used to Barnes maybe getting figured out or zoning out the game, but that's more because Leicester do alternate between attacking on the left and the right, and they do it in blocks of periods. They're not constantly switching the flanks like some teams do. What Leicester tend to do, which can be the comeuppance in a sense when sides figure it out, is they kind of figure a side out in the first 5 or 6 minutes, which one they're going to go down. Then they predominantly go down that, and then they switch it to kind of drag the opposition across, depending on which side to go into. But I'm just going to say this right now. I'm a big fan of him. And I know you've kind of, with things that happen with Wonder, you maybe kind of bit your tongue and gone, well, I'm going to see how he goes. 2 assists, could have got a goal. Maybe a cheeky assist because the keeper parried it out to Albrighton. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much. I'll do a Rio Ferdinand. Get the checkbook out. Send them an email with a picture of a Loopman and say, how much? Let's get this price agreed now, because this kid is quality for us. His passing to Harvey Barnes. He played that pass like, there you go, mate. I know where you're running from. He played that like we foam at the mouth about the Vardy, Maddison, Yuri connection, where they can make blind passes because they know where it's going. Well, he did that today. He did that twice. He made some passes where he just knew his job was right. Put it in the middle. Someone's going to be there. This kid is the lone signing we've been waiting for to solve that problem on the line. Get him in. Let's get in touch with Leipzig or wherever it is he's at, and let's say, right, summer, what we're talking, because if we can send him back now and make it permanent, let's do it. But if not, let's get a price agreed between us, and he doesn't have to come back. He can do his medical here. We'll send over the paperwork, because I'm sorry, he was, for me, and I understand Chowdhury was out of position and very much deserves man of the match, and I totally understand that. But I think for a player that we plays in a position that we've expected so much from since Mahrez has left, to finally have one is so satisfying, and he gave an absolute phenomenal performance, in my opinion. Can't get my words out today. I'm suffering.
That's easy for you to say, isn't it? But
no, right? That one I've had a few.
But yeah, we're going to come on to obviously man of the match. Alan sent it through. I sat at the end of that, and I was able to watch the whole game. I'm going to be honest with you, apart from a couple of minutes when it froze. But I feared the worst. I've got to be honest with you. I looked at that. I said at the start, I looked at that team and thought, yeah, well, all we can do, let's just hope that we go down fighting. And we did better than that. I mean, there's so many. And let's just bring it back up again. There's so many players that, for me, they just played so well. Never had difficulty in thinking who am I going to pick for man of the match. Or Brighton was good, like I say. Even Vestergaard, let's be honest with you, didn't really do much wrong. Tillemans and Maddison kind of ran that, but Chowdhury for me, and I agree totally, 100% with everything you've just said about Lookman. He had an amazing game, but for me, and I've been one of his critics, and I was quite happy for him to go, this time last year when Newcastle was sniffing round. But my God, get Chowdhury tied down to a longer contract.
Yeah. Leicester just showing what they're doing is right, and you're talking about contracts. You know, just Tielemans' contract is the obvious one that Leicester fans will be hoping and praying for in the summer. But we can do that ourselves. I think we can do that as a club and get behind the lads as fans, because I think Tielemans deciding whether to extend his contract or move on in the summer depends purely on how well Leicester do this year. And you know, Tielemans is one of them. I'm pretty certain the rest of the squad look good, won't be wanting to go anywhere, regardless of where Leicester finish, because, you know, I feel that Leicester have finally clicked into gear. And I know people might say, "Oh, yeah, you're saying that after a couple of wins," but we put Newcastle to the sword. I mean, even Cambridge could do that, but still, we beat Liverpool with a tattered squad. We've just beat, you know, Watford with a completely forced 11. Let's be honest, it was a completely forced 11. There was no Castagne, no Ricardo, no Vardy, no Daki. The list is endless. I think there was
Let's be honest with you, we couldn't even fill the subs bench, could we?
No, we couldn't have. I mean, just do me a favour, Chris. I know I said to you that Bonte Campbell, Daly Campbell came off. What was the name of the substitute that came on for him? Can you pronounce his name for him, mate? I have difficulties with that name.
To be honest with you, I can't remember who it was. I think
it was the really dodgy pronouncing one, because I did the transfer show with you. If you've not checked that out, go and check our first transfer roundup. But Chris tried to make me, without having the name in front of me, pronounce a really awkward last name, and I was trying to get him back for that one.
I wasn't going to let you do it to me, and I think it was Madi Vedua, wasn't it?
I'll take your word for it, mate, because I honestly, I actually genuinely forgot which one it was.
Any of those that was on the subs bench there, Stolicic, McAteer I was all right with, and I think, but I mean, when they came out, it's not a full bench there by any stretch of the imagination, and yet Rodgers was able to bring these kids on towards the end just to make just to give them a run out. And I think the fact that we made Ranieri forced him into making 3 subs in one go shows how dominant we were. When they scored, it was completely against the run of play.
Yeah, it was. It was, and to be fair, their chance they had when it was 3-1 was completely against the run of play. I mean, the bar's done its job for us over the last 2 home games in all competitions. But you know, you look at it as well, and the one thing we have noticed, and this has been the real changing point, probably since that Champions League season that Leicester had. Do you remember we had and I know we got absolutely battered 5-0 by Porto in that game, but that was the first time we saw glimpses of the likes of Harvey Barnes, etc., and Chowdhury's, and I think Ben Hamer played, which is probably why we lost 5-0. But we started that process then, and it's ever more continued. I mean, we have not just seen the likes of Nelson, whichever one it is, I didn't see how it's spelled to pronounce it, and McAteer. We've not just seen them on the bench, but we've seen them get minutes, haven't we, as well, Chris? And you could see by the performance today. I mean, I don't want to bring up dark times, but that certain performance against
the lights went out.
Yeah, that certain defeat against a Stouport Stouty, to not say their full title, under Claude Puel, when we had players out of the cold, like a certain Chowdhury has been for the last couple of seasons for us. We played a team with youth, players that hadn't played a lot of games for us. Mark Albrighton, notably, was one of them on the day as well. And you look at the comparisons to when we've done this before and to now, like we've said, Chris, them players, whether they started or came on as substitutes, did not look out of place with the understanding of what to do for the first team. And that just impresses me more that the Leicester way, because I mean, when we did the transfer show, I said certain moves seemed almost anti-Leicester, didn't they? Because they were going to if they were to bring that player, it would knock a youth product down the pecking order, and that's anti-Leicester of today. And it's just great to see, mate. It was great win, it was great performances. Just give us a cup now, we'll keep it. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. I mean, Neil, you missed me singing "We Play in the Dark" at the start, so I agree. Even the lights going out couldn't dim our performance. Hey,
Hey.
apparently, Sointra is looking to leave, says Neil. I hadn't heard that, to be honest with you, but maybe if he does, it will give us some money to go out and buy Tarkovsky. I don't know, but I mean,
Where's he leading to? The shops? Nipping out? Never heard that one. Oh, you have to show us the source, mate. I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah.
I'm not an absolute sniff of anyone of that caliber saying they want out.
No, not at all, nor me. But I mean, to me, out of the youngsters, I mean, Brunt had a great game. McAteer, he was twisting and turning towards the end. And whatever we say about Watford, yet we know, they're towards the bottom. But at the end of the day, they are a Premier League team, and this was most of our under 23s that were out there. They did not disappoint. They went out. I tell you what, they went out and said, right, this is my chance.
Yeah, they really did.
Daly Campbell, I think, he was a bit silly, wasn't he? Really.
Yeah, he was, but you can forgive him because we've seen it before with youth players. They try and impress, and sometimes you're gonna try too hard, as the saying is, don't you? It's not like he did too much wrong. Yes, it was a yellow card, and then he nearly got himself sent off. But Brendan, I guarantee you, Brendan went, Campbell, good game, steady. I'm just taking you out of the action. I'm gonna give someone else a go. Hold him off the second half because I don't want you getting sent off. I don't think he's kind of gone in there and gone, well done, lads, but Campbell, you're this, you're that, get off my pitch. He's obviously gone in there and gone, you've done well, shepherd it out, I'm impressed. I don't want you being suspended and missing a game and potentially picking up a soft yellow card, so I'm just going to take you off. It's nothing against your performance. I'm just going to make sure that you're available if needed for Tuesday, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And that's what I also like about Brendan. And can I just ask, was it Brunt or was it McAteer that went from the midfield to the left back position? Because that just shows again the adversity.
We'll find that in a minute because Craig's going to join us. But Scott says he wouldn't take Tarkovsky. He's playing for. Honestly, I would. I mean, this time, if we looked at Maguire, we'd say, well, we're not taking him. He's playing for Hull. Then they got relegated. You could say the same about Johnny Evans. The problem is, yes, these youngsters are good coming through, but you need experience. We haven't got the experience there because Evans is not going to be there that long. Fofana is still a youngster, as is Justin. So we do need, we've got Vestergaard, but, one good game doesn't make a swallow. So Beyond the 90s said that rumours from Jake Watson of TalkSport.
Oh, wow. Talk shy. I mean, talk Spurs. I mean, talk shy. That says it all, doesn't it?
You said talk shite just as I brought in Craig. I'm sure that was just.
He set you up. He set me up for it, Craig. I didn't say nothing.
He did. How you doing, gents?
I'm doing well, mate.
You've got to be happy. I mean, Brad unfortunately didn't really get a chance to see it. His streams weren't 100%. Mine was all right. Yeah. It was a great performance, wasn't it?
It was. I would say workmanlike rather than spectacular. I mean, you can only beat what's in front of you. But I thought we did a thoroughly professional job. Yeah.
I mean, when we looked at it, we couldn't even fill the bench. No. Any available first teamer had his boots on. Schmeichel was being given a rest, and I think you've got to give Danny Ward some games, otherwise, it's getting silly. What's the point of having him? Nobody. I can't. Possibly Perez. Sorry, Brad. But he. I mean, you made the point, Brad. You'd forgotten he was on the pitch.
Yeah, I genuinely did. I was really disappointed. I know I get a bit overexcited and dramatic when Perez is brought up, but I've always been fair when it comes to criticism. And unfortunately, I did genuinely message you because I had it on, Craig. I had to listen to it through the radio, and at some point it's not bad here. I mean, Leicester were having floodlights issues. Well, I might have been causing them with my phone. But I genuinely listened to them, and obviously they're very vocal on who's got the ball, and they home or away, it doesn't matter. They tell you who's on the ball. And I messaged Chris going, I didn't know Perez was on. in that second half. And this was one of the games where I wanted to sit here with a smile on my face going, I'm just cooking the humble pie because he's had a blinder and he's finally got a performance under his belt. What was it like seeing him on there? I know I always put him under a microscope, but this is why. Performances like this.
I mean, a couple of things. It was, I just caught you just before I came on. It was Brunt who moved from midfield to left back and looked, more comfortable at left back, to be honest. But the piece that I did after the match, I've uploaded it to the site, Chris. Maybe you'll get to have a look later. I started off with the couple of points that I thought were the negatives, and there was two performances for me that didn't really cut the mustard. One was Vestergaard. I thought, although he had a bit of presence in the box, he won a few headers and obviously got the penalty. He was a bit too slow and ponderous and got caught on the ball too many times for me. And the other was Perez. And I did prefix that by saying that I'm usually a supporter of him in terms of his work rate and the fact that he's a clever player and takes up good positions. But for me today, just really poor. It wasn't so much what he was doing with the ball when he was on it, because he wasn't on it a lot, but it was when it was off the ball. You've got Lookman playing as a lone striker who absolutely ran himself into the ground, had a great performance. And Perez just couldn't be arsed, didn't look like he was bothered. At one point, there was a bad pass that went astray. He just stood there throwing his arms up at whoever it was. I can't remember, but really, really disappointed in him today. And looking at some of those youngsters who grabbed their chance, all he's doing is he's going further down the pecking order, and he's going to end up being one of those expensive people who sits on the bench for the rest of his Leicester City career, unless he has a rocket up his arse.
That was what I message to Brad when he said about he didn't know he was still on the pitch. When Perez being taken off for a youngster. I mean, that is almost with that threadbare, you've got to be taken off. And I think, was it 2-1 or 3-1? It wasn't, the game wasn't over by any stretch then. I'm thinking that's got to kind of be embarrassing. It was his chance, and the youngsters were coming on, and the youngsters were taking their chance. And that was great to see, absolutely great to see. And I think you've got Perez. It reminds me a bit of, was it DJ Campbell who didn't like running about on the pitch? He liked running offside. He did that very, very well. Who was the one that didn't run back in a game?
I think we've had a few of them.
They were shouting at him. I thought it was him. I'll just say a big hello to Anthony Herbert, a big Arsenal fan. Good evening, Anthony. Thanks for joining us. Had to bring you up because, of course, had we lost today, we would have been the first holders to have gone out in round 3 since Arsenal. Just that I did say that earlier, just thought I'd mention it again. But you're most welcome here as always.
Was that also their third round defeat against another Midland side? Wasn't that when they lost to Forest in round 3? Or am I just thinking of them?
No, it was Forest.
Was it?
It was. Yeah.
I thought it might have been that Wrexham one when they got beat by lowly Wrexham. Just while we're picking on Arsenal defeats.
Yeah, well, there's so many, isn't there? It's not that we don't have, we haven't got a choice to go to. But I mean, it was a definite penalty, and I'm surprised. I didn't think Vestergaard was that bad today. I mean, you were there, Craig. You probably saw more than me. He earned the penalty.
He's just, I think he did. Most of it was okay, but against a better team, we would have been in trouble a couple of times when he just doesn't seem to react quickly enough. Sometimes he thinks he's got more time than he has. And if you've got fast strikers who are just nibbling around your feet all the time, then you're going to get caught out. And he got caught out at least twice that I noticed. There was probably more than that, but there was a couple of glaring ones where he was almost last man. Luckily, he was out wide when he got it. He brought it down, but then for some reason just didn't use his body enough. And I've talked about this before, that he hasn't got the physicality needed to shield the ball and use his height and his strength. So he had it nicked off him a couple of times.
do you think we've said this about Soyuncu? He plays better when he's got an Evans, without experience next to him. Do you think that's fact with Vestergaard that if he's got somebody like Evans or whatever, you're shouting at him, telling him he would he would play better?
I think he's definitely better in a 3. When he's just a focal point, because he can play the ball out well. He's good on the ball.
Yeah.
But he needs a covering player, and in a 2, you're not always going to have a covering player around you. No. It'd be interesting to see who you guys called out as a man of the match on this one.
Yeah, we've touched on it, but obviously we'll come on to that a bit later. But Brad, you were still watching when we got the penalty. You hadn't lost the screen then, so I'll involve you while you're still spending time watching it. Definite penalty, wasn't it? I mean, he was just barged over, and Tielemans, it was a bit close. The goalkeeper went the right way, but nobody. I think it had to be Tielemans take the penalty.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. If Vardy's not on there, I mean, I'm always an advocate for a striker to take it, but we haven't got one. So Tielemans has shown us many a times he's very good at penalties. Because yes, the keeper, you could say, got very close to it, but in a sense, he also got nowhere near it, because every time Tielemans seems to take a penalty, whether it's top or bottom corner, it's almost inch perfect, isn't it? I mean, Craig, I don't know what it looked like from the ground, but I managed to, before we came on, see the highlights, and it looked like it just, that keeper could have dived 100 times the same way and still wouldn't have saved it. It just looked a perfect penalty.
Yeah, it looked like one of those perfect side netting just inside the post jobs, as you say. You've got to move before the ball's kicked if you're going to get anywhere near those and gamble. It just looked, because usually he puts them high in the corners, which is what I was expecting. But no, he looked perfectly side netting, and you've got very little chance of saving those. And
I think if he got his hand to it, it was hit with quite a bit of force, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It beats all daft little dinks and side footers, doesn't it? I'm sick of seeing them. I don't like them.
I hate it.
Yeah, you know what these goalkeepers are like, don't we, Greg? These goalkeepers, they pretend that they can save it.
I'd have saved it.
Did you know, by the way, just to sidetrack very briefly, Brad, that Doug was a goalkeeper as well?
Doug,
yes. For the Doug.
Oh, Doug. I was like, hey, it's Doug. Yeah. I was thinking, yeah, I can imagine it. So, although I can imagine him being a broadcaster with his voice, the way he speaks things, I think he's better than that than a goalkeeper. It'd be interesting to have a chat with him about goalkeeping stuff.
I don't know if you're still watching, Doug, but if you are and you're about to go live, remember, put your washing away from behind you. You don't need that on screen. James Maddison just gets better and better and better, doesn't he, Craig? He's going to be linked away again.
Yeah, he's. I thought a couple of the senior players, when you've got some youngsters around you, you need your senior players to take on that role. And I thought both Tielemans and Maddison were very good today. Maddison's just seems to have got this belief back from somewhere.
He's got his swagger back, definitely, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely his swagger back. It was a great finish, as was their goal, to be fair. Both good finishes. But Tielemans, for me, his work rate was phenomenal today. That he was chasing back. He really means something to him. And as long as he's here, he's definitely not one of those players who's going to down tools and look for a move. He puts it all in. And him and Maddison were both very good today. But it's great to see Maddison back near his best.
And then Watford Leicester, Craig. We'd hardly stopped celebrating, and they popped up and got one back.
Yeah, I would say it was a very good goal, to be fair. He took it very well, sort of allowed what it would have been interesting, because it was one of those things where you wonder how that would have been with Schmeichel, because I think Schmeichel would have held his ground, whereas I thought Ward went down a little bit early, to be fair, and made his mind up for it. But it was a decent finish. But I don't think he had a lot else to do, to be fair.
No. Were you impressed with Ward today, Brad?
Yeah, he's a very steady number 2. I think we knew that when the price we paid for him, it's the least you expect. For goalkeepers, that's a good price to be paying for your number 2. And yeah, I mean, strangely enough, last year he played in the 3rd and 4th round for us, and maybe 1 or 2 goals you've looked at with a bit of question, but I've very rarely struggled to find anything to really pick up Danny Ward when he's stepped in the goals. It's nice to have a goalkeeper who can do that, because you say about the youngsters taking an opportunity, but when you get the players like a Danny Ward or a Hamza Chowdhury, for two big instances, that haven't played a lot of football, probably barely made double figures between them over the past season and a bit that we're into now. So to see them put in the shift that they have, show the fitness, show the awareness, show the understanding, and play like that, you really can't argue with it. Granted, like Craig said, Danny Ward didn't have too much to do, but what he did, he did right. I mean, at the end of the day, he goes down and that Watford bloke hits it low, he saves it. So it's just one of them. He was a bit preemptive, but he looks a genius if he saves it, doesn't he? So yeah. I'm happy with Danny Ward's performance.
Yeah.
I must admit, and I know you're a big fan of American football, Craig. I have to admit, I've worked out what we need to do, because like in American football, they bring certain players on for set pieces, don't they?
Yeah, specialists.
Well,
yeah.
I've got the perfect role for Perez. Is that when the opposition's got a free kick, you need that sleeper behind the ball. Just bring him on.
Just bring him on to lay down.
Yeah, and when it's finished,
get him on a pulley string.
Yeah.
Get him on a pulley string, so wherever the free kick is, we can just shuffle him across or pull him across to it.
I'm sorry, Perez, but he was too quiet today, definitely. Let's just have a reminder of this. I've got to.
It didn't happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
Leicester Till I Die TV, home of the FA Cup winners.
Never accuse me of milking anything. 2.5 time, and I've got to be honest with you, Brad. What you said about Perez, I actually thought about Barnes. I'd hardly heard him mentioned, but again, when he had his chance, he took it.
Yeah, he does, and that's something we've come a bit accustomed to with Barnes. Like I said earlier in the show about, because Leicester kind of go in blotted periods, depending on which side they want to go down and try and break an opposition down. He's kind of natural that he goes quiet at points. I mean, even the guy who I've been waxing lyrical about, Lukeman, at points was a bit quiet and unheard of in the game, and that just tells exactly how Leicester go about the business. But something that we're seeing from Barnes that we didn't see in his early career. I mean, in his early days, you found that Barnes was probably given a lot of balls through to him to get a lot of chances to try and get his confidence up, to get him confident about shooting, passing, etc., etc. And you've seen his development now. I mean, he's having maybe one or two clear chances, and he's putting them in the back of the net, and he's just showing what all the Leicester fans were raving about when we called him back off loan against West Brom. We were all sat here going, we have a right talent on our hands, and if he keeps developing the way he has been, we're going to have our version of Eden Hazard. If you want to compare him on the left to a player, I'm not throwing him in the same calibre now, but I'm saying in terms of what he did and what he became as a left winger for Chelsea, I'm fairly certain we could have that in Harvey Barnes if this continues, because everything he's touching at the moment when he's in a Leicester shirt is turning to gold when it's in front of goal.
I mean, Craig, Brad was saying earlier, get Lookman signed up, end his loan spell and get the ink on the contract. From a point of view of being at the match, he looked good on the TV. What was he like in the match?
No, I was really impressed with him. His work ethic is fantastic. He was isolated quite a lot, but he wasn't giving the defenders, the back four, any free time on the ball. When he did get it, he looks to get turned as quickly as he can. And what I like about him is he runs with purpose. There are players who run, and there were those that run with a purpose, like he did for the goal against Liverpool. He out sprinted Trent, ridiculously. It looked like Trent was running through sand. Yeah. So I've been impressed with him the last few games, to be honest, Lookman. Whether it's, whether questions are being asked about whether he's worth a contract and he's stepping his game up, whether he feels, more confident that he's getting more pitch time, I don't know. But I don't think you can fault his attitude at all. And for someone who gives you that flexibility of being able to play on any of those 3 forward line positions, I think he's a very worthwhile addition to the squad if the price is right. And I think that's what it'll come down to.
I mean, Fulham absolutely raved about him until he got injured, unfortunately. I mean, I'm a bit, it is a bit worrying because it doesn't look like we're going to have a January window where we actually go out and buy anybody. It's all sort of being talked about. Yes, we need a centre back, but it'll be a loan, which I get because once everybody's back and fit, I think they said on the TV today, Vestergaard's probably like 6th choice. So you take somebody else on, and you've virtually got a team full of defenders. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that we're going to have the money to actually make the deal permanent.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think Brendan and the people behind the scenes will have a value. Now, they may be able to push it a little bit, but I think it will come down to a valuation of Fulham. I think if it's somewhere around the 15 mil mark, I don't think there'll be a question. I think if they want more than that, it could go either way, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Brad, and I said you've got to go in a second, but I mean, Tielemans, to me, how can I sum Tielemans up? I suppose if you think about American football, he's like your quarterback on the pitch, isn't he? But you all right there, Craig?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate.
Surprised he wasn't captain, but Mark O'Brien, he deserved it, and he played well.
Yeah, he did. Reliable fox, isn't he? Sorry, Craig. Was that for you?
No, that's fine. You go ahead.
No, it was for you, but I was just having a little dig at Craig.
No, lovely. Well, if you want to get your revenge before you go, just tell me to shut up, and I'll let you start back in for it. No, Mark or Kevin, as we know him by, always reliable. Still can't figure out why Aston Villa let him go, but I'm happy that he's came here and been here ever present. But yeah, Tielemans is just like the master puppeteer that silently does his work, but he's secretly pulling the strings. And you know what? I've always said for a number of months now that Tielemans is a player that Leicester fans need to cherish every single moment he does for us, because he's not going to be someone who's here when he's 32, 33, whatever. It's just not. There's no way. He's, in a nice respect to our football team, he is bound to play at the highest caliber of football. And that might be abroad at a Real Madrid or someone like that, but he's never going to end his career here. He might come back, hopefully. We can always hope that he comes back and ends his career here, but he's not going to stay the longevity of it. But like Craig said, the fact that he's there, I mean, I said to you, didn't I, Chris? We won that throw-in against Liverpool, and he's there like, yeah. And today you could see him fist pumping and cheering and round the crowd up and clapping his hands and getting everybody behind it. Don't look like a player who's thinking, where is he going to go in the summer? Does he? And even if he does, you could not wish. He's the perfect example of the committed player you want in your team. Even if he's got 15, 16 months on his current contracts or whatever state it's in, you can see that commitment. And that's the joy you get with Tielemans that I don't think you get with a lot of other players in that situation.
No, quite. I mean, he doesn't look unhappy, does he, Craig? And he's not. He's not doing a Mahrez. He's not going off and having Mardy bum time because he wants out. He's giving it his all. True professional, in fact, and all credit to him. And if he goes. We're going to make a profit on him. But he's everything. You want to try and hold on to him, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault his attitude. He is, as you said there, Brad. He's just a consummate professional. He goes about his business and he'll put everything in. And if there was a transfer already on the table and he was going to go, I would expect him to be putting it in right to the very end of the last minute of the last game anyway. I'll be surprised if he's here next season. So you're right, Brad, that we need to cherish him while we can. But his attitude, and what's great to see is that those young players who are sharing the pitch with him will see that attitude as well. And he definitely looks like that kind of player who wants to take the younger ones under his wing as well and make them develop. So you know, we should enjoy him while we've got him playing, but also what he's bringing to those youngsters as well.
Yeah. Just want to very, very quick. I've always said those goalkeepers are lovely, haven't I? Doug, thank you very much, mate. He's just become a member of the channel, which you can do. There's a few extra little bits you get if you do that. And thanks to Doug for doing that. Really is appreciated. Up the goalkeepers, that's what I say.
See, I was the committee, Chris. I told you.
Nippon, good evening, Sal. The devil are you? Roman, get his checkbook out. How much are you asking for Tillemans?
400 million for you, mate.
Yeah, whatever you're thinking, add 30 million onto it and you'll still owe us.
Yeah. Whenever you get to that figure, keep adding 30 million to him because you ain't having him. He ain't going to Chelsea.
And you're not giving us drink water back if he's still with you either.
No, and we don't need Chilwell back either. We've got another left back that can play there in Brunt now as well. So we've got about 5 left backs that can replace him.
Yeah. Having said that, in fairness, Chilwell's doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, he is.
We're talking about O'Brien. You couldn't ask for any more from him. Caps off a performance with a goal. Brad, welcome to you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Craig. Yeah. I mean, again, he's just one of them nice blokes, isn't he? You love to see him. Again, he's one of them that maybe silently just goes about his business that we don't talk about too often. Kind of reminds me of Steve Guppy, a little bit unsung hero. Could come in with a few quality goals. Got about his business. Didn't let anybody or anything faze him. Just did a joy, and it was a joy to watch. And Leicester fans took him with their hearts. And Mark and Steve Guppy, you know, are probably right up there for 2 players that I remember. That have always been like that. Like I say, maybe not so much between the Leicester fans. They're very sung heroes, but they're not like talked about in the same breath as we do week in, week out about your Madisons and Vardy's and Tillemans. It's just, you get, maybe it's accustomed. Maybe we've got accustomed to them caliber of players being around the club, that they come in, do the job, no fuss, and we go there going, Albrighton have another cracking game. And then you turn around, your mate turns around and goes, it's Mark Albrighton, mate. That's what we expect. Yeah, you just, you know what I mean? He's just one of them players.
Had he been maybe not at Leicester, maybe he'd have played more for England, Craig.
Potentially, I think his lack of pace is always going to go against him. I think in those positions, but he does give you 100% every time. He had a bit of a dodgy 10 minutes after in the second half where he pinged a couple of balls back to Hamza. I don't know whether he was trying to, you know, test him out or not. But no, it was again another solid sort of 8 out of 10 performance from Mark, and it was nice to see him get the captain's armband for a game as well. Yeah,
this to me sums up Leicester today. The fact that we'd got not enough players to fill the bench. We'd got, you know, 3 or 4 was it. We started with under 23s on the pitch. You know, a lot of first team were not available. We had 27 tackles in there to Watford's 15. I know they've got a few players out as well, but the kids weren't scared, and that's the thing. I was sat there thinking, like, they weren't afraid to try a little twist and a little turn there, and it was coming off. And I think, Craig, I know it was only Watford, but 27 tackles from that squad, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think, particularly once the third goal was given, I think it gave them a little bit of a cushion to actually play with a little bit more confidence, play with a bit more freedom to go forward. I thought early on, a couple of them were looking to give the ball back where it had come from, but I think that's natural. You want to get a few touches on the ball, but I think McAteer is looking more confident every minute that he has on the pitch now. He was cajoling the others as well and pointing where others should be. So he looks like a player who's got a lot of confidence, which again is encouraging. But they all did well. I don't think there were any of those. And as I say, we ended with 6 academy players on that pitch who had come through that system. I don't think any of them did themselves any harm at all. Sometimes you can get a youngster on and you think he's just shown that he's not ready yet. He needs to go back a bit. But any of those, if they were ever called on for 10 minutes towards the end of the game, wouldn't let you down.
If that was the same team, Brad, that we put out on Tuesday against, or was it Wednesday against Everton? When do we play them? Tuesday,
Wednesday, maybe not at all.
Well, exactly. But I mean, if that team went out against Everton, I wouldn't be worried now. I wouldn't say we'd have to definitely win it, but I certainly wouldn't be worried.
I'd be optimistic of a win. Everton are absolute dross this season. Are absolutely awful. It's no longer the case of it's just fans getting used to Rafa being the manager because he did what he did with Liverpool. It's just dross football. It's complete contrast to what you see from Leicester. I mean, okay, I'm not an Everton fan by any stretch of imagination. I don't sit down and watch 90-minute, their full games back to back. But what I do see of them, we've talked about effort, commitment, not looking scared, seeing leaders on the pitch. You won't find that in Everton, mate. You'd have to put a poster up and find it because you're not going to find it at Everton right now. I mean, I think you told me they were 1-1 against Hull. I don't know what the score is.
They're up now. They're winning now.
Well, it's only Hull. No one cares. But my point still stands. They're in the Premier League. They're not a good side. And after seeing the performance I've seen of getting a full 90 minutes, against a Premier League opposition, no matter the calibre, you can only beat what's in front of you. And with other players like McIntyre, yes, okay, only got 2 or 3 minutes. But we've seen these players before. If you said to me, Brad, can't believe this, we've got 8 fit players and the Premier League have turned down our postponement requests, how you feel about it? I'll be like, I feel like we're going to get 3 points at Goodison Park because I don't care if it's Richarlison, I don't care if it's Calvert-Lewin. That performance tells me that them youngsters are more than good enough to go and toe to toe with Everton.
Niall's asked there. Sorry to cut you off, Brad. I was going to let you have a breath. Niall asked there, who would you want taking the next down? And I think Neil from Beyond the 90 asked it as well. I'm just looking through here.
Newcastle. Oh wait.
Middlesbrough straight through. Now, I don't like doing this because Dan's the mate and they get on really well with him. But Burnley 1, Huddersfield Town 2. Sorry, Dan. But I mean, pack your bags up now and start getting your maps out for the likes of championship games and next season. Palace beat Millwall. I'm just looking for them. I mean, the big shock obviously was was it a shock? Newcastle losing 1-0 to Cambridge United, Craig. Maybe it's not as big a shock as we think it should have been.
No, I'd quite like Cambridge because it means we'd get to see that highlights of that 5-0 win in the playoff semi-final again, and I'll never get tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
Talking of 5-0, Chelsea also 5-0 up against Chesterfield.
I mean, just on that, why is that a TV game? Can someone explain that? The European Champions League holders against someone in the conference at home. I get the others because there's a chance of an upset, but who's choosing that as a TV game? Absolutely ridiculous.
I just think maybe it's more to do with what you've just said because the European champions and all right, obviously we know we faced them in the final last year. We know they didn't go weak, but you're just hoping for that one-off moment, aren't you? I think that's literally desperately what I was for.
I get that if it's away, if they're away, but the fact they're at home, against a non-league side, just.
I think we have to accept that the TV executives look at these games and think Leicester, Watford, both Premier League teams, but Chelsea got more fans worldwide. We'll be able to sell the rights. Let's get Chelsea on. I
get that, but Newcastle would have been a bigger story because as it turned out, there was an upset. There was a more chance, and there's bigger story around it. But anyway, that's an aside. As to who we want next, I'll take Kidderminster now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say, tell you what, for entertainment purposes, you could have put Barnsley Barrow on.
Indeed, yeah.
That one was 5-4 going into the last minutes of extra time. I'm assuming Barnsley held on, but I don't know.
Yeah. I looked at that and thought it had gone to penalties, to be honest with you, when I saw the score. all I will say is when you're asking for Kiddimies, I'll say 2 words to you both. Wycombe Wanderers. Just be careful what you wish for. Careful.
That's true. I mean, it's not much of a cop out, but I'd always say a home tie. And if we get a Premier League side or we get a high-end Championship side, as long as they go on to win it, I'm not bothered. I've always said that about any cup competition. If you get knocked out, please just be the team that goes on to win it, so you have that to say about it.
I said I wanted a home tie, and I said I wanted it against the lowest team that was still in the draw, which was Wycombe, because they hadn't got a striker. There we go. Terry, thanks for watching. He's got to go and feed his cockatoo. You're on a promise with the missus, are you? That's what you call it. I don't know. I mean, I would have said Derby County, but oh, what a shame they got knocked out as well.
We can have Coventry then, couldn't we? We'll have Coventry at home, shall it?
Yeah, Coventry would be a nice game.
Pick a winner. I had to, as I was on Dan's show last night, and I couldn't predict because I didn't know who I wanted. Millwall, I just wanted them to lose because I hate them. Coventry Derby, my hate was split. I have to be honest with you. So I don't know. I think, like you said, Brad, a home tie for me.
You just feel a bit more comfortable. I mean, you saw our attendance today as well. It's not like the fans were slacking in numbers, so whoever it is, they'd be there to get behind them.
Yes.
Because I think every Leicester fan right now, every man and his dog who follows Leicester is going, come on, keep the dream alive of back-to-back. Keep the dream alive of back-to-back. And that's ultimately going to help us if we have a home tie.
I think with the situation we've got with players at the moment and those being away at the African Cup of Nations, I think if you've got a Leicester team, it gives Brendan a little bit more leeway in terms of picking the strength of the team.
Yeah. No, they're not, Scott. They got knocked out by Coventry. I suppose, what you said there then, Brad, I suppose a home tie against an easy club to beat. So I'm probably hoping for a home tie against Arsenal or Man United.
Well, yeah.
Did I say that out loud? Now
I'll go with Coventry at home. I want them at home.
Actually, let me ask you both this, because I used to work with a Coventry fan when I was actually in Burnley, and we always used to have a quid bet as to who was going to win every time we both played each other. I think we were both in the Championship at the time. I can't remember, but anyway, I always think of Coventry as our main rivals because they literally are the closest team. I know some people think it's Derby, some people think it's Forest. For me, it's always been Coventry. Though we're not playing the phrase. You two guys, who do you count as our nearest rival that you would always love to beat?
I think historically it's been Forest because Forest were the bigger team in the Midlands or in the East Midlands specifically. So Coventry were a little bit overlooked, even though they were closer because they were classed as a West Midlands. So in terms of East Midlands bragging rights, it was always Forest and then Derby. But I'd agree with you in terms of proximity. Coventry should be, and there's too many teams around Birmingham for them to really have any rivalry with any of the Birmingham teams as well.
Yeah. What about you, Brad?
I mean, for me, my family's always been a case of if you want to follow football, that's your choice. But the first team you're seeing play is your local side. So my family's quite diverse, and my mum was a Cov fan, so I always had small bragging rights in the days. Yeah, but she raised me right, Chris, didn't she? Look at the team.
I was going to say you've got a mum who's a Coventry fan, a dad, is he a Wolves fan?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised you've grown up as normal as you have, to be honest with you.
Well, I haven't grown up normal, but at least I picked the right normal football team to support. But no, for me, it's always been Coventry. But if I think of best Derby memories, there's nothing better than watching back over that 12.5 minutes against Derby County at Pride Park where we scored 4. And fans were leaving. In fact, the camera of the Sky, because it was on Sky, I believe, that game, and it panned to 2 people walking down, and the commentator went, Derby fans were seen enough. And that was after 12.5 minutes. So, best Derby moment is that game, but for me, just because of family and that, I think I always lure to saying Coventry are our biggest rivals. Yeah. But it's hard to call anyone rivals these days, not even in the right division.
This is very true. Conscious of the time, I'm going to end it now, but I'm going to ask you both. Man of the match. Now, this is what Alan went for, and like I say, he always say he does it straight as he comes out of the ground. He's given the manager 9, the team 7, and James Maddison man of the match. It's not often I actually disagree with Alan. I don't think Brendan particularly did anything wrong, but he didn't have much choice in what he did. It was one of those games that he was pretty much dictated. So whether he deserves a 9 or not, I don't know. I thought the team deserved more. I'd have said the other way around, 7 to the manager and 9 to the team, because I think the team died out there for us. Man of the match, for me, it could be 4 or 5, to be honest with you. I have been his biggest critic. I don't like the guy. I think, I thought this time last year we should have got rid of him. So I think it's only fair that when he does play well, I've got to give man of the match to Perez. Sorry, I'm joking. I'm joking. Hamza Chowdhury for me, because again, he wasn't playing in his natural position. He seems to have got rid of that red card that seems to be in him all the time. And I think now, like I said at the start before you came on, Craig, give him a pen and show him where to sign, because I think we would be silly to let him go now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me for my man of the match, for me, it's quite a simple one. There were a few very good performances out there. As I said, the ones I've mentioned before, Maddison, Tielemans, but for me, it was a clear winner was Hamza.
God, we agree.
I know. You know what? I think there was every part of his game today. He got caught a couple of times, but that was usually because, as I said, Albrighton had pinged some ridiculous pass back at him.
Yes.
But his recovery runs were fantastic. He put the tackle in. It was very rare that somebody actually got past him today, to be honest. It was almost Van Dijk-ish. But his all-round stuff off the ball as well, his positioning play. There was 2 or 3 times where I think balls had ended up being overhit and gone through to Ward. But he was the guy who'd made a run in behind the defender in covering as well. So he seemed to have that natural defending intelligence about him. And I thought it was an outstanding performance from him today.
Totally agree. On that sort of performance, like I say, I would say keep Mendy and get rid of Chowdhury, but on that performance, I've got to say, and his recent performances when he's come on or been called on, he's done well. Possibly, Brad, future captain?
I think that might be a bit of a stretch to say that right now, but there is always potential. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We can't say for certain who's going to be here in 3-4 years' time, especially in that midfield role. But definitely seen improvements in Chowdhury. In terms of Alan's rating, I'd probably give them both a 9, the manager and the team, because you can sit there and go, well, Brendan didn't really have much to choose from. But clearly what they've been working on since their last game, and since then players ultimately went away for the African Cup of Nations, Brendan has clearly had to work these youngsters hard, or even harder than he has been, on the training ground to get them ready and filled with confidence and belief to go out and put in the performance. And I think if you're giving one a 9, you've got to give the other the same rating, because the team went out and matched what the manager asked of them. And for me, it's a 9 in each. I'm in a losing battle here because it's 2. We've already got 2 votes for Hamza Chowdhury, and I know a lot of Leicester fans went with Hamza as their man of the match. I even think Leicester Radio gave him their man of the match. But I am still a very big advocate to go out there and say, I want to give him 3 assists. I really do, because I know his shot deflected off the palms of the keeper and then Albrighton give it. I don't think I'll get that. I don't think it'll go down on the statistics. But for a position that we've been crying out for, like I said earlier on the show to Chris Craig, is we have been screaming out for a right winger. And it just seems, like you said, whatever the reason is for it, whether it's just genuine commitment, whether he's had to have an arm around him and his confidence boost, and now we're seeing him at his fluid best, it just finally feels like, to quote Rio Ferdinand, get the paper down, write some figures down, tell them what they want, sign it, get it done, because I think we finally have that missing piece to the attacking jigsaw that we've been missing from that side. And for me, I'm going to stick with Lukeman. I thought he was outstanding, and again, not like Chowdhury, not just tonight, but in the last 3 or 4 games he's played, he's got goals and assists. That's exactly what you want when you talk about a period of time now where we've not got Vardy. Might be his season done, to be fair, if he doesn't recover well enough from his injuries. 8 weeks he's out for.
Yeah.
We're missing Daka. We haven't got any Acho. And let's just say we had all them 3, but they were drawing blanks. We've been looking at Harvey Barnes solely for our goal force. To now see what Lookman's capable of when they've been there and when they're not, I think it's just refreshing to finally have 2 other options to go alongside the 3 front men for goal options. And I think that's where Leicester have maybe dipped a little bit over the years. So hopefully that's the start of seeing a glut of goals spread around our attacking 5, I want to call them. So for me, it's Lookman based on that. But I'm fine with Cowdery getting the vote.
I think you could go for, like you say, maybe 5 of 6 of 7 of 8, couldn't you, really? But Craig, just finish on this one then, definitely. Man City don't need a striker. Are we taking a leaf out of their book? Were we the Man City of the Midlands?
I wouldn't really go that far. I thought, I mean, Lookman for me today played more centrally, but he can clearly play, all, as I said earlier, on all three positions and put a shift in. I don't know. It depends how long Daka's out for. Obviously, he's not off to the AFCON, so if he's here a couple of weeks. But we know Vardy's out for a while and Iheanacho's gone, so Lookman does give us that option. What's good to see, though, is the fact that we've got Tielemans, we've got Maddison, we've got Barnes, we've got Lookman, we've got Daka when he's fit as well. Aside from Vardy and Iheanacho, there's goals in this team. There's goals in this team, and that's why. And I'll just take the opportunity to even have a dig at Johnny Evans now, even though he's not played and he's nowhere near the team. When you've got that amount of talent going forward, you get the ball forward quicker. And we do that. You know, Hamza was doing it today. Vestergaard did it, but Hamza was looking to move the ball quicker. And if you've got the players more advanced up the pitch, you need to take advantage of when the ball turns over, not slow it down and allow the team to get back into shape. So we've got to play to them, and it's great to see that we've got goals all over the pitch now.
The only thing I was saying about Daka was, I think, because Zimbabwe might not be playing in the AFCON, and Zambia have offered to take their place if they're dropped. And of course, if Zambia go, Daka may well go. But
let's just hope that's a flailing attempt by Zambia to get into it, because they didn't qualify. I don't think it'd be fair. I think you just kind of maybe have to void their results, but which is unfortunate for them, but I can't see anything being put together now, just completely mess it up. But again, and at one point, just to quickly touch on what Craig said there about our attacking impetus when we get pulled forward, something that you actually touched on, Craig, that I would say, how impressive is Lookman when he gets that ball and he just turns. He doesn't hold the ball up and wait. You know, I said it about his assist to Barnes, that he just knew, like a Fuchs no-look pass, he knew to put it in that channel. I really get that feeling that that's just the positive attitude we need to see in that midfield, because I saw the goal back in his turn where he just went, I'm off. He didn't even, he almost didn't wait for the ball to come to his feet. He was already off. I'm like, right, what's in front of me? And again, like you said, if we continue that going forward this season, we're going to see maybe what we all predicted or hoped would happen this season, where we had the bad start, got all the crap out of the way, and then had a really fiery good end to it.
Well, on that, you know, even the goal against Liverpool that he scored, if you take that back, he received the ball on the halfway line there and did exactly that, of turning very quickly, just laying it off and going for the return, you know. And he does. He sort of drops his left shoulder and goes back the other way. But no, that's what you want, isn't it, from an attacking player, to just be positive, want to get turned as quickly as possible. No, he's been really encouraging the last few games.
If there's any Everton fans watching, bad day for you. 2-2 now with about 17 minutes.
Saying what a goal! Apparently, it's a screamer.
And Yeovil have pulled one back against Bournemouth. Guys, get your hotel booked in Wembley Way. That's all I'll say. Hang on, we're going there. We're playing. Oh, it's upside down. Where's it? Hang on, you've got to do your song. You said you would do your song, Brad, if I sang, and I sang at the start. We play in the dark. So come on, Brad.
Oh, can I just go before you do that?
Craig, let's go. Please, save your ears, because I said singing.
Hang on a second. I will do this. In fairness to him, Brad, all yours.
No, what you've done. Oh, so see, I was banned from singing, so don't blame me. Send all your email complaints to Leicester Till I Die. Just send them straight to Chris's email address. But you know what to say, sometimes you don't need a defensive play. So, you know, we're the Leicester boys. Who gives a fuck? We're 4-1 up on the FA Cup. We play our kids. Who gives a fuck? We're Leicester boys and we're 4-1 up. There you go, you got it. You happy now? You definitely
don't remember there being a swear word in it when you were.
That's the original song. I only incorporated what they normally sing.
Has it stopped?
Yeah, you're safe, mate. You're safe. Yeah.
We're the Leicester boys. He does this. I told him he should have banned. I said banned from singing. He broke his own rules. So just get a load of angry emails into to Chris over here. Just send them into his email address.
You know something though, when you're surrounded by sort of 20,000+ other people, you sound like Pavarotti, don't you? But when you're on your own.
I sound like Pratterotti.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much. Hey, like I say, we're on our way again. We have successfully defended it past Arsenal's pathetic record of going out in the first round, having won it. And I will see you tomorrow, Craig, 7 o'clock with Elton Wellesby again.
Well, I was hoping it was going to be Monday, but you know.
What day are we today?
Saturday.
Then I will see you Monday. I'll be waiting from Sunday. You know, look. I've got it. I've got a diary. Look at that. Look, all filled out there with what's doing, when, what. You're lucky if I just sit here and I get prodded. I've got a machine that prods me when it's time to go live. I will see you at 7 o'clock, young man, on Monday with Elton Wellesby previewing the Everton game.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for popping on, mate. All the
You're
best
welcome. Cheers, Grant. See you, everyone. Cheers, guys.
So thanks a lot to Craig there. 7 o'clock Monday for the Everton preview. And we're back on Tuesday night, Craig. Brad, even. Oh, God. What am I saying?
Take two. Cool.
This isn't anything alcoholic, I don't think. You know, it's talk. You were struggling earlier. It's these teeth. You see, I cleaned them this morning. Can't do a thing with them.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, we will be back here Tuesday, or maybe we will have to be talking about. Well, I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you if it's available for you. If you've not got anything planned before it, if the game does get postponed, what we could do is we could maybe put a show on where we maybe talk about, should something happen, should there be a set rule in place where a certain period is left open for any postponement games for the time being. We could do a show and talk about the crisis that's going on and what we should do about these games. We could always do a show either way, but hopefully we are discussing 3 points on Tuesday.
Well, if we do that, it'll be earlier. Yeah, I agree. Good idea. And we can just talk Leicester for a couple of hours.
Yeah, why not?
You know. Yeah. And then we're back for the prediction show on Wednesday. Yourself, me, and Steve Linux.
How was that actually gone? Because we did about 400 predictions. I'll be honest with you, my mind melted. I don't even know if.
I've no idea, but we said we were actually going to, if a game is postponed, we're actually not counting those points at all, because it's going to get so confusing. Because I might have to go back 2 months to find out what we said when, So if it's postponed, they just don't get counted those points. So
and for those of you still watching, that means I'm still top because he's not mentioned it.
No, you are still top, but I've shortened the gap. I think you were 10 points. You might be 8 or 9 now. So I've just sneaked under there. That said, we've then also got Dan's show at the weekend. A lot of Burnley talk, and I don't think he's a happy bunny at the moment.
Yeah, you might have to do some Championship revision, mate.
Yes. And I haven't done the long ball for I don't know how long, so I'm dropping down on that.
That's been the furthest thing from my mind, unfortunately. That's the biggest thing I've always said is my problem. It's the same with fantasy leagues. I do them for about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I'm right on top of them. The second I start forgetting them, it's because it's not an app. You know what I mean? If it was made into a full-time app, I'd be happily doing it because it's there in front of me. But if not, I just forget.
Yes, yeah. I will see you sometime on Tuesday then.
Sometime on Tuesday, definitely will be, mate. Definitely.
Come on, then. Come on, the Foxes. Coming home again.
Yeah. Keep
coming home. It's coming home.
Keep that trophy polish on red alert because it's about to get used on the FA Cup again.
It is. Mate, thanks very much. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And well done, everybody. And comments.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks to Brad there. I hope his food's not burnt. He messaged me about half an hour ago saying, I have to go in 10 minutes. My food's ready. And I think, yeah. Can you smell anything, Brad? Is it going off? It's going to be a busy week next week. 7 o'clock, we have got the Everton preview show with Elton Wellesby. You may remember I had a chat with him when the game was originally cancelled. He's a big Everton fan, Jeff Stelling of his time. He was the face of football on ITV Sport. So it'd be great to have him back on. He's a big Everton fan and might be able to tell us what's going wrong at Everton. 9 o'clock on Monday night. It's the new time. Mondays at 9, unless of course we're playing, when we're going to be doing the football show with Julian Watts, the ex-player. Now, you may remember that every week we sort of asked him questions about different things that were going on in football. What we're going to do, though, actually, is moving forward for the rest of the season, is we're going to be looking back at the results over the weekend and discussing it at a match of the day without the pictures. That's at 9 o'clock on Monday. 10:45-ish on Tuesday, if it goes ahead. Me and Brad will be talking, hopefully 3 points against the aforementioned Everton. On the 12th, you can catch me on the Dugout TV channel with Doug doing his predictions. And at 9 o'clock, our own prediction league, me, Brad and Steve Lynex. And then just me and Dan are getting married. Burnley at the weekend. I'm on his show, he's on mine. Who knows? You're going to see a lot of me next week. I never thought I'd be sat here thinking 4-1 with that team. It was Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for joining in. If you're listening to this on catch up on podcast, whether that be Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google, Podcast Addict, your favourite platform, thanks so much for listening in and supporting us like that. And I will see you a good day after tomorrow. I will see you on Monday. Take care. Stay safe. Come on, you foxes.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
That's all, folks.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.